Design philosophy. Why three engines still matter. A centerline engine changes the narrative. The trijet architecture isn't nostalgia, it's a performance tool. Three Pratt & Whitney Canada power plants give the 8X the climb gradient and obstacle performance it needs at constrained airports, with the quiet, low-vibration personality that Dassault has been honing since the 7X. The S-duct installation over the fuselage feeds the center engine with minimal drag penalty, and the result is balance, throttle response, and trim that feel precise, unflustered, consistent across weights and temperatures. If you've flown big twins that feel magnificent at altitude but busy on tight, steep arrivals, you'll sense the difference the moment the 8X bends onto a short final at an airport other long-range jets avoid. The flight deck, symmetry, vision, and workload. Up front, Dassault's philosophy is simple. Let the avionics do what humans are bad at. Monitoring, fusion, relentless consistency, so crews can stay ahead of the aircraft. The flight deck integrates active, fighter-derived digital flight controls and a combined vision solution that layers synthetic and enhanced vision cues onto the head-up display. In hard IMC, on a tight schedule, that becomes more than marketing. It becomes access. It's the difference between canceling or holding and making the approach confidently, with stabilized energy and clean cues. Owners don't brag about avionics, they brag about reliability. But to get reliability, you need this exact toolbox. Airport access, the steep approach story. Everyone quotes range. Fewer talk about where you can actually land. The 8X is approved for steep approaches up to 6 degrees and was designed to operate into airports with short landing distances and rigorous climb-out profiles. Translate that into real itineraries. London City instead of remote alternates, Lugano and La Mole when the coastline is crowded, and downtown adjacent fields that keep the day efficient. For principals who value privacy and time over runway fanfare, this is the Falcon calling card. It unlocks meeting schedules that would otherwise require helicopters, long drives, or compromised sleep. Performance in the real world. Speed is seductive, but planning is reality. The 8X's range at Mach 0.80 covers true globe-spanning missions with margin. The high-speed cruise option, up to Mach 0.90, preserves meaningful legs when the day demands it. Maximum operating Mach at 0.90 gives pilots tactical flexibility on westbound flows and weather workarounds. The wing and control laws let crews hold speed without chasing altitude or constantly renegotiating fuel. Takeoff distance at maximum weight sits in the high 5,000-foot band on a standard day, while typical landing distances in the low 2,000-foot range underline the airplane's short-field DNA. The upshot is a jet that plays the full field, intercontinental mileage, and short runway access. That combination is rarer than it sounds. Cabin experience, where wellness is designed, not declared. Walk in and your shoulders drop. The air is fresh, the sound is low, and daylight pours in from tall, oval windows spaced to avoid hotspots and glare. Cabin altitude is held dramatically lower than airliner norms, think under 4,000 feet at cruise, so hydration and oxygenation stay closer to what your body expects. After a dozen hours aloft, that shows in faces and in decision-making. Dimensions matter too. Height just over 6'2", width just under 8 feet, and a cabin length that approaches 43 feet, excluding the flight deck and baggage. Those numbers translate into real zones. A forward lounge that functions as a reception and workspace, a mid-cabin conference dining area that pivots effortlessly between laptop time and linen service, and an aft suite where a proper bed and a shower turn an overnight sector into an unfair advantage. It feels like rooms with doors and rhythms, not just a continuum of seats. Day in the life. A continuous thread. Picture a New York evening departure with a dawn arrival in Western Europe. You eat properly early in the climb, lights tuned to a warm color temperature that starts your circadian reset. The cabin drops to a whisper. The air system keeps oxygen and humidity comfortable. Window shades and lighting work together instead of fighting. Mid-flight you step to the aft suite, close a real door, and sleep without that airplane sleep head throb. An hour from top of descent, you wake, shower, and reset. Up front, the crew has the arrival wired long before you finish that espresso. Steep approach clearance, stabilized energy, and a short runway in sight. Door open, car waiting, and you're in a morning meeting at a city address that many ultra-long-range jets simply can't reach directly. The numbers, explained, not just listed. Exterior length sits just over 80 feet. Wingspan a touch beyond 86. Tail height a shade above 26. Maximum takeoff weight is in the low 73,000-pound class, with a maximum fuel weight a bit north of 35,000 pounds. Approach speeds can be held in the low 100s, which is why the landing distances read so short. Maximum certified altitude is 51,000 feet, well above the weather you want to avoid, and the airplane's balanced field length at maximum weight and standard conditions stays under 6,000 feet. 3 engines rated at around 6,722 pounds of thrust. Each provide both the takeoff margin and the disciplined fuel profile that Dassault markets so aggressively. In day-to-day life, you notice those numbers most on second segments, on hot and high departures, and on the final hour of a very long leg when energy management stays serene. Connectivity, noise, and those quiet details. The 8X is an office when you need one, a living room when you don't. High-throughput connectivity holds video calls without drama. The cabin management interface avoids the "where's the button for the blinds" learning curve. Dassault's acoustic work shows up in the way voices sound natural even at hour 10. On recording days for this channel, that low sound floor is a blessing. Interviews stay intelligible, lav mics work with less EQ, and we can capture natural cabin tone without masking. Money, acquisition, hourly reality, and annual budgets. Let's talk costs candidly. New build pricing for the 8X has hovered in the high 50s million US dollars, depending on year, slot, and specification. Pre-owned examples trade a band lower, shaped by hours, pedigree, and refurb. For operations, real budgets depend on utilization, but large cabin trijets of this class typically pencil out to total ownership in the mid-single-digit thousands of dollars per flight hour on a 300 to 450-hour year after you allocate fixed costs. Direct operating costs alone can cluster in the mid to high single thousands per hour, depending on fuel, engine programs, and maintenance philosophy. Charter starting points in the U.S. market commonly appear around the low to mid 5-figure per flight hour and trend up with demand, routing, winter weather, and cabin layout. None of this is theoretical to the people running these airplanes. It's the difference between a jet that gives time back and a jet that consumes it. Ownership experience. Why support networks? Matter. An airplane is a machine, but an operation is a system. The 8X benefits from a mature worldwide support footprint and a U.S. service network that understands the Falcon fleet deeply. Predictive maintenance and digital monitoring catch small variances before they bloom into trip-threatening issues. Crews trained on Dassault's philosophy adapt smoothly between 7X and 8X, and spares pipelines for the PW307D family, and Falcon-specific components are well established. The result shows up in dispatch reliability and in the calm that pervades planning even on aggressive multi-city days. Comparisons: Global 7500, Gulfstream G650ER, and the Falcon family. If headline range rules your life, Bombardier's Global 7500 will keep pulling at you with a figure north of the 8X. If raw high Mach and cabin width are your priority, Gulfstream's big twins remain compelling. Where the 8X punches above its numbers is access and arrival quality. It combines credible intercontinental range with short-field performance and steep approach approvals that move meetings downtown. Against Dassault's own 7X, the 8X stretches the fuselage, adds fuel without adding empty weight, and refines lift to drag so you feel the upgrade in both comfort and mission flexibility. For some owners, the decision becomes philosophical. Biggest numbers, or the most places you can actually use on a tight day. The 8X makes a persuasive case for the latter. Sustainability: the practical levers you can pull today. Large cabin business aviation will never be green, but the 8X makes real, measurable strides where they count. Modern engine cores, clean aerodynamics, and meticulous weight discipline cut burn for the same work. The airplane's ability to hold high altitudes and direct routings reduces time in turbulent, inefficient air. Pair that with sustainable aviation fuel availability at major U.S. and European hubs, and you can move the needle in a way that shows up in corporate sustainability reporting. It's not virtue signaling, it's incremental, pragmatic progress. My take: why this jet feels different. I've flown and filmed the whole spectrum of long-range business jets. The Falcon 8X is the quiet professional of the group. It rarely screams fastest or largest, but it consistently delivers what matters to human bodies on long days: smooth energy, low noise, generous daylight, and airport access that keeps calendars intact. In an industry that loves superlatives, the most luxurious trait is still how you feel when the door opens. The 8X nails that moment, as well as anything flying. Engagement break: help us keep these deep dives coming. If this film gave you a clearer view of what the Falcon 8X actually does, hit like right now. It tells the algorithm to recommend this to more luxury aviation fans. Tell me in the comments which 8X superpower would change your routine most: steep approach city access, the aft suite and shower, or the low-altitude cabin. Subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly tours that go beyond brochures. Want behind-the-scenes segments and early drops? Join the channel to become a member today. If this research saved you time, consider a super thanks. It directly funds our next shoot. And don't forget to drop a free hype score by typing HYPE in the comments. It's a no-cost boost that helps this video reach the people who love machines as much as we do. At the top, I promised the one comfort factor owners start scheduling around. It's the cabin altitude. At typical cruise, the Falcon 8X keeps pressure down near 3,900 feet and refreshes the air continuously. Over long sectors, that physiological difference becomes the advantage you feel at the curb. Clearer head, steadier hydration, less jet lag, better decisions. In luxury aviation, that is the superpower that actually buys back your day. If this deep dive into the Falcon 8X helped you see past glossy brochures and into real-world performance, please like the video now. It tells the algorithm to show this to more aviation fans. Comment with the one 8X feature that would change your travel routine the most. Subscribe and turn on notifications to join us for weekly tours of the world's most compelling jets and yachts. For behind-the-scenes extras and early releases, consider joining the channel. If our research saves you time, a super thanks directly funds the next investigation. And don't forget to drop a free hype score in the comments. Just type hype to push this video higher in suggested and help more people discover it.